Hey, this is Adeea, the Trendy Socialite. I hope all is well with you. As we bring 2014 to a close and we are beginning to prepare, hopefully, for 2015, I wanted to share with you some of the life lessons, business lessons, but mostly life lessons that I've learned in 2014. And I find that these lessons impact me in every aspect of my life. So I wanted to share these with you. Thank you to my friend Doris Renee, whose YouTube information I will leave below for you, who actually kicked off and inspired me to do this video by doing her own lessons that she has learned in 2014. So be sure to go over after you finish watching this video and watch her video and comment and rate and subscribe to her YouTube channel because it is great. So without further ado, here are the things that I have learned in 2014. The first lesson is emotions aren't always good or bad, they are emotions. I learned this after a brief stint in therapy again, another brief stint in therapy earlier this fall. And my therapist told me, because I was saying, about how I feel bad when I feel a negative emotion, an emotion like sadness or hurt or anger. And she says, one of the things that differs between Western philosophy and Eastern philosophy is the fact that in Eastern philosophy, emotions just are. They are not necessarily qualified as positive or negative, good or bad. They are just emotions. And I agree with that to a degree because I feel like we have been socialized to believe that emotions are good or bad. And so we want to focus on the good emotions and we want to not focus on, not deal with, suppress the quote bad emotions like hurt and sorrow and grief and anger and resentment and all of those sorts of things. Just even those feelings of discontent, any feeling of discontent, failure and all of those sorts of emotions. We want to really not give credence to them and not even deal with them. And so I find that, and when I reflected on my own life and on situations, when I've looked at other people, I have found that all of those unresolved emotions can rise up and have really profound and not good and negative effects on our lives. And so one thing that I have actually sort of kind of always done is I have always allowed myself to feel the emotions that I feel. And I think that has made some people uncomfortable. Like when I say I'm sad, then they're like, oh, well, you have nothing to be sad about, or joy comes in the morning, weeping may endure for the night. And I understand all of those things, absolutely believe it. But if you look even at that scripture that says weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning, it acknowledges the fact that you actually are going to cry. You have something or something has happened that you cry about, that you are sad about. So it is not saying not to acknowledge or deal with the fact or have the experience of weeping. It's actually saying that yes, you are going to experience this. Yes, you are going to have this. But look on the other side of that. And so that has been really helpful for me in terms of dealing with any feelings of discontent that I have. So I allow myself to feel the emotions, in the moment, or as soon as I'm at a place where I can spend some time by myself alone with my thoughts, with my feelings, and just allow myself to feel the emotion. A lot of my friends I quip about, I take to the bed, and I literally do. Sometimes I will come in from work, I don't do anything, I don't eat, I don't, and I do have to do that. I have to take to the bed. I have to process my emotions. I have to deal with it. I have to think. I have to feel that emotions. And after I do that, I usually come out of that situation. A lot of times it's overnight. Sometimes it takes a day or two. And I usually come out of that situation feeling better, feeling more centered, more balanced in my emotions. It is when I constantly push down how I feel, when I constantly don't deal with it, and when I'm constantly having to kind of put on a face, that's when stuff starts rising up, and I start feeling like really, really empty, and I start to feel really, really overwhelmed, and all of these other emotions of discontent start happening for me. So whereas if I would have just taken a little bit of time and dealt with that particular emotion at the time, I could have sort of worked through it, moved past it, and gotten on to with the rest of my life, gotten on with other things that I had going on. So for me, a huge lesson that I've learned are that emotions aren't necessarily good or bad. They are emotions, and we absolutely have to deal with them. We have to deal with them. We have to deal with them. I can't say that again. We absolutely have to deal with them. Another lesson that I learned in 2014 is one that I actually learned a couple of years ago, but it just seems to be the recurring theme in my life, and that is to go with the goers. And I know that sounds overly simplistic and maybe even a little silly, but it's true. I learned this lesson from Pastor Anthony Hutchins over at Quanania Christian Center Church. Shout out to KCC. And it was like light bulb came on, peace came over me, because I'm like, I've been wringing my hands and worried and anxious and feeling some kind of way about people that just aren't pulling their weight, or people that are, lazy and shiftless, and, I'm always having to give to them. They're not doing their part and all this kind of stuff. Go with the goers has released me and them from all of this pressure of feeling like they have to perform in a certain way, they have to do certain things, and all this kind of stuff. It has been one of the most freeing lessons for me, is to go with the goers. And if I'm the only goer, guess what? I go by myself, and I'm okay with that now. A lot of times, I don't know if you've seen that viral video. If I can find it, I'll put the link below. But it's a leadership video, and it's about how you kind of become infectious and how you get people to buy in. And it's this guy at some sort of music festival, and he's doing this real crazy dance all by himself. And then you see somebody kind of like looking over at him, and then they get up and join them. And next thing you know, like this whole crowd of people are doing that same crazy dancing. And it's the same thing with the go with the goers concept. If you have to start out by yourself, that is absolutely okay. And then as you start to build momentum and things start to grow, you start to grow and change, people will start coming along beside you or with you or wanting to work with you or to work for you. So go with the goers has just been a really freeing mindset shift for me, and it has helped me to understand that I just have to let people do what they're going to do and be who they're going to be and be okay with that. And it has lessened my stress so much. You will not believe it. So if you are always kind of anxious and feeling some kind of way and talking about what people aren't doing and they're not pulling their weight, just try, just for a little while, living with the concept of go with the goers. Whether that's 1, whether that's 3, whether that's 30. Go with the goers, and then I promise you, others will come along. If they don't, still fine. You have to continue to walk in your purpose, and because ultimately you are responsible for that. The last lesson I want to share with you in this part of the video is stop measuring your successes with someone else's yardstick. I had to really learn this lesson this year, because you look around you and you see some people that started out with you or even started maybe after you, and all of a sudden, boom, they have blown up. They are just super hot, super popular. They seemingly came out of nowhere and just wrecked it. And then you're looking at yourself, but you're like, I put in all this hard work and I've been doing this for so long, and why haven't I gotten momentum, and why don't I have more than a few thousand subscribers? And this person came on the scene in a matter of weeks, seemingly had 10,000 subscribers, 100,000 subscribers. You have to stop measuring your success by someone else's yardstick. That person, you don't know really the story behind that person. They could have a whole team of people behind them, helping to push this and to push out content and to do all of these things. Whereas you're doing it solo dolo. That doesn't make your successes less than. It doesn't make them any less important. It doesn't make your voice in whatever community you're in any less important than someone that has a celebrity status. Your voice is absolutely needed. You have to look at the opportunities that are placed in front of you as your own successes, and you determine what success looks like for you. And when you start to meet those success marks and you start accomplishing some things, you absolutely should feel proud, whether it takes you 30 days or 3 years to accomplish it. You have to determine what your definition of success is for yourself, for your brand, for your life, and then that's what you work toward. The only competition is who you look at in the mirror every day. I do hope these life lessons that I'm sharing with you have been helpful. Leave your questions and comments below. Share with me your life lessons that you've learned in 2014. I'd love to interact with you. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram especially. I'm always up there, and I'd love to talk to you about life lessons that you have learned in 2014. Take care and be blessed.